have fought to bring it to an end.
This is a rallying cry.
Bob Vander Plaats is the man behind one of the largest of these organizations, the Family Leader.
31 states where they had a chance to vote, marriage is between a man and a woman. That's the way it's been for 6,000 years and continue on.
Last year, the Republican-led House of Representatives voted in favor of an amendment to allow a public vote. Now it's up to the Senate, where the Democrats hold a 2-seat majority. Vander Plaats says he hopes a few left-leaning senators will now step up and put values before politics.
A lot of elected officials will say it's all about the economy this year, keep marriage out of it. Well, marriage and family is about the economy. If you're going to have a strong economy.
Now, in 2010, Vander Plaats led a campaign to oust 3 Supreme Court justices who voted in favor of supporting gay marriage. We asked him today what's next for the 4 justices that are still sitting on the high court. Find out what he had to say coming up tonight at 6. For now, we're live in Des Moines. Mark Carlson, KCRG TV 9 News.
Now, a small group of same-sex marriage supporters also gathered outside the Capitol today. They say it's time to move away from the issue. Iowa State Senator Matt McCoy said Bob Vander Plaats' campaign needs to end.
The truth needs to be told. Bob Vander Plaats needs to get a real job instead of working on spreading a message of hate and discrimination.
And if you'd like to see more coverage from today's rally at the state capitol, just go to our website, kcrg.com. There you'll find a photo gallery full of images of the rally. Just log on and visit the gallery section of our website. Well, we have had just another beautiful day across eastern Iowa, Joe. Unseasonably warm temperatures again. And hey, it's spring now.
Officially. We didn't know that the last 3 weeks when we had winter, but boy, the warm conditions held for the beginning of spring. In fact, take a look at our numbers right now. In the eastern half of the state where we haven't seen clouds and precipitation, it's been warm. 70 degrees in Waterloo, 76 right now in Cedar Rapids, 77 in Washington, and Dubuque right now, 76 degrees. In the west, we have had some clouds and precipitation. That's where it's going to stay as we head through the evening hours, I think, but we're noticing some eastward progression very slowly as we head through the nighttime hours. Here in eastern Iowa, we'll get our chance of some showers, maybe an isolated thunderstorm as well. Not anticipating any severe weather, though, tonight. So your planner at 6. Primarily dry, partly sunny skies, about 75 degrees. I think a partly cloudy sky at 9 o'clock. Could be some rain for our southwestern viewers. Partly cloudy skies and a temperature near 66 degrees. And oh yes, for the first day of spring, we ended up with some record highs as well. We'll talk about those coming up.
Thanks, Joe. Well, KCCI TV in Des Moines reports that a microburst hit a West Des Moines golf course Monday night. This video shows how the storm uprooted and knocked over trees and spread debris all over the course. It's estimated the wind speeds reached 70 miles an hour. A microburst is a column of sinking air that suddenly drops out of the clouds and produces some very strong winds in all directions. It only lasts a few seconds, but as you can see, it can produce damage that's similar to a severe thunderstorm. The Iowa Department of Human Services says reports of child abuse are down here in Iowa. That's after a 2-year upward trend. Abuse cases for 2011 were down about 7% from the previous year. Cases of neglect were most common. 10% of cases were physical and 4% were sexual abuse. The DHS says it believes an improved economy helped reduce the amount of abuse, although it's impossible to pinpoint an exact reason for the decrease. The man who authorities say set this fire on February 7th in Marshalltown has pleaded not guilty to 2 felony counts of arson. 26-year-old Andrew Burke is suspected of starting the fire that destroyed a historic downtown building that held a grocery store in Marshalltown. Authorities also accuse him of starting a garage fire days later. Burke remains in custody with a $25,000 bond. Authorities have cracked open a cold case that involved a missing Iowa native. They've now identified a body that was found all the way back in 1974 at a California condominium, and they say it was this man, Oral Stewart Jr., a U.S. Marine from Des Moines. For years, the military had listed him as a deserter. Investigators now classify his death as a homicide. The Naval Criminal Investigative Service found that tattoos on the body match those described in Stewart's records. Family members say they always believed something happened to him because Stewart loved the Marine Corps and would never have deserted. Police have not named any suspects nor a possible motive for that murder. February marked a record high for monthly sale totals for the Iowa Lotto, Scratch, and Pull Tab tickets. But lottery officials are now concerned that those high sales numbers could take a turn for the worse because of rising gas prices. They say fuel prices can be one of the biggest blows to lottery ticket sales, and especially with predictions that gas could reach $4 to even $5 a gallon this summer. Speaking of gas prices, nationally, they're up for the 11th day in a row. AAA says the national average for regular unleaded is $3.85 a gallon. The highest prices are in Hawaii at $4.48 a gallon. The cheapest in Wyoming at $3.44. Here in Iowa, regular average is $3.79 a gallon. Be sure to check out KCRG.com, by the way, for the lowest gas prices you can find here in eastern Iowa. Well, basketball ended for all the Iowa teams this past weekend. Now it's time to talk a little football. Hawkeye spring practice begins tomorrow, and sports director John Campbell joins us now. And the Hawks have some holes to fill, don't they, John?
They certainly do. Certainly a running back, certainly a defensive line, and wide receiver also, Bruce. The challenge at wideout is replacing Marvin McNutt, the most prolific pass catcher in Iowa history. But they'll try it, and they'll begin with Keenan Davis, who improved dramatically last season.
I mean, you know, we've got Keenan, obviously, who got some great experience last year. Keenan needs to take that step, and you know, I alluded to that earlier. Everybody that has played has to play better next year if we're going to have a good football team. I don't care who it is, James Vandenberg, James Ferentz, Keenan. Those guys have to step it up, and he's capable, you know, and he did a lot of good things last year, so now it's a chance to build on what he got started. Then after that, we're really young.
Other possible wide receiver candidates are Cavante Martin-Manley, Don Schubert, Steven Staggs, and Jordan Cotton. So an interesting deal. Spring practice begins tomorrow.
That time of year already.
Yes.
Thank you, John. Illinois voters are heading to the polls today for that state's Republican presidential primary. 54 delegates are at stake today. An American Research Group poll yesterday showed Mitt Romney holding a 14-point lead over Rick Santorum. The weekend survey gave Romney 44% of likely Republican voters. 30% backed Santorum. Newt Gingrich and Ron Paul were far behind. Recent comments by Santorum on unemployment numbers put Romney on the attack.
I don't care what the unemployment rate's going to be.
I do care about the unemployment rate. It does bother me.
A big victory tonight would help Romney gain momentum toward winning the Republican nomination. Of course, Santorum still hoping to prevent that. The polls in Illinois close at 7 o'clock tonight. Students at Garnavillo Middle School are asking for your help. You might remember last week we shared this story about the students launching a weather balloon with a GPS tracker and a camera on it. This was all for a science class. Well, the battery in the tracker died, and now the kids just aren't able to find the balloon. The last known location of the capsule was near Prairie du Chien in Wisconsin. The important part of the project is a styrofoam box that holds all the components. If you see it, call the school. The number is 563-964-2321. That's the Garnavillo Middle School. Heart Health Awareness. It's as simple as improving your health habits, and coming up we'll share 7 lifestyle factors that can help reduce your heart risk. A twister hits a Texas town. It's just one more part of a very volatile spring season. But another beautiful day in eastern Iowa. Joe's up next with your full forecast. And spring has arrived. Look at these pollen levels. Yes, it is spring. Stay with KCRG TV 9.
Live from your 24-hour news source in high definition, Bruce Owney, Beth Malicki, and Joe Winters. This is KCRG TV 9 News at 5.